Dobro jutro. Danas idemo na izlet u Kazbegi planine, znači Greater Caucasus region na granici Europe i Azije. Turu smo uzeli preko Getter Guide, platili 25 eura. Tako da evo nas, meeting point nam je kod ove fontane, kod ove metro stanice. I uskoro krećemo. Vodič nas je pokupio, pretpostavljam da je ovo naš kombi. Idemo u planine.
And we trade a lot with Russia, so there are big trucks going around, and also because of weather, sometimes there's heavy snow, and road is closed like halfway, then they open it every hour or so. So they open it like one way, close it another way, they use tunnels to go around, that's why. That's why we're not sure about the traffic jams, so we'll see. So our country overall is actually more than 2,500 years old. So we've seen everyone here. We've seen Greeks, we've seen Roman Empire, we've seen Seljuks, like Turks, Persians, Mongols, and Russians. So basically everyone who was interested in our land for different reasons has been here. And the Silk Road is very important because it transfers through the whole country. It follows the main river. This is the river. Kwarian Georgian language, or Kura internationally. And it starts in Turkey, goes to Georgia, then goes to Azerbaijan. 1,515 kilometers long, the whole river. And our capital, Tbilisi, where we are now, is actually our second capital. The thing is, our second capital was established in the 5th century because our king transferred the capital from the old place to here. Old capital is called Nećete. We're gonna pass by Nećete. It's still on the bank of the river, so it's still on the Silk Road. It's just there are multiple versions of why our capital was transferred. So I'm telling like mixed basically Georgian facts and capital facts because we're still in the capital, so you can see. There are two versions of why our capital is here currently. According to one, our king, you can see his statue on a horse overlooking Old Town. He's sitting like this. Basically, you might have seen him. He established the capital here in the Old Town location, according to historians, because he realized it's easier to defend this place compared to the last capital, because last capital doesn't have a lot of hills around it. So of course during invasions it's harder to defend. But Tbilisi has a lot more hills, so of course it's easier. That's why he transferred it here. That's the official historical accurate version. But there is also a legend that is also connected to truth. According to the legend, he was actually hunting around these parts. He was hunting royal birds. For us, royal birds are pheasants. And he was hunting pheasants using his falcon. His falcon saw it, saw the bird, chased after it. Eventually both birds went out of sight, disappeared, because this was a very, very dense forest before. So he started looking around to find the birds, eventually found both of them dead, boiling in hot sulfuric water. And he realized that that water can be used for tourism, for curing some illnesses in the long usage, and it would be wise to form a settlement around it. So he did, and he called the first settlement Tbilisi. Tbili means warm, Lisi means water. So name of our capital is basically warm water, or some people call it warm place. So that's why Tbilisi is here, that's why it was built according to that legend. But both of versions are true to some extent, both strategical reasons because there are more hills around it, and the legend as well. In Georgia you will see a lot of wine. It's because we are actually the birthplace of wine. The oldest wine in the world is more than 8,000 years old, so 6,000 before Christ, and it was found here in Georgia. Currently in the world there are two main ways to make wine. One is traditional Georgian style, second is more modern European style. Georgian style requires everything to be used: grape seeds, skins, the juice itself. We just squish the grapes as they are, we put them underground in the clay constructions called kvevri. We let it ferment naturally and we get always dry wine. Georgian wine made traditionally is always dry. Because slowly the sweetness of the grapes turns into alcohol levels, and it turns into dry wine when the fermentation is done, and usually it's between 10 and 70% alcohol. Second thing is actually honey. The oldest honey in the world is that's how we found out that Georgians used to bury our deceased in the clay pots, and we used honey in the burial processes even before Egyptians. To others, we found out at the end of 20th century and beginning of 21st century, when there were a lot of scientists digging up the past, they eventually found the oldest human remains on European land, if you consider Georgia to be part of Europe. Since the remains were 1.8 million years old, they realized that's the oldest people on Europe's land, and Georgia is in the Caucasus region, so let's just call it Caucasian race. They needed to flood 3 different villages. But of course Soviet Union care, so protests didn't do anything, nothing changed. And currently there are 3 villages buried underwater.
Mitja living her best life. Akumulacijsko jezero kaže da je ovo glavni izvor vode njima, ali da su morali potopiti 3 sela da bi se ovo izgradilo. Ananuri, tvrđava ili tak nekak. Bude vam napisala točnu lokaciju. To nam je sljedeća stanica.
What we see here is only the top part, the citadel, because the rest of the walls collapsed within the time. And it's called Ananuri because of one young girl named Anna from the village nearby that is called the Nuri. The fortress originally was built between like 14th, 15th centuries, but the first locations here inside, the tower especially, was built in the 9th century. We're gonna see it as well. The thing is that Persians laid siege to this place a lot. That's why usually Georgians were inside just locked, because it has a secret tunnel that connected to the river. Because water reservoir was not here before, there was just a river. And the secret tunnel connected to the river, and that's why they captured a young lady called Anna and forced her to tell them the location, but she never did. That's why they tortured her but killed her eventually. So we named the whole fortress after her. Anna from Nuri, Anna Nuri.
Dakle, unutar tvrđave ima ova crkva pravoslavna koju ćemo sad ući. Ovo je ogromno, znači ni ne stane u kadru. Vidite. I ovdje ispod je išao taj tunel zbog kojeg je Ana umrla. Priča koju je čovjek izgovorio, jel te, ako ste ga slušali.
Also, there's a lot of symbolism in Orthodox churches overall, outside and inside the church. Outside the church. So, there are 2 explanations about that. One explanation, more realistic explanation, is that red wines from the
Zidovi tvrđave i manastir. To ovu ekipu. Haj! Haj! Bože, kak ste slatki! Dakle, pravimo pauzu u restoranu i uzeli smo tradicionalnu gruzinsku hranu da probamo. Ovo se zove kačapuri, napravljeno je sa sirom. To je ona tradicionalna delica. Juče sam probala drugačiji kačapuri koji imao i jaje unutra. Ovo je baš tradicionalno. I ovo trebali bi izgledati kao dumplingse, jer videla sam na stolu ove koje rade sa mesom, baš izgledaju kao dumpling, ali moje su sa sirom i zovu se hinkali. Može se raditi i sa sirom, i sa mesom, i sa gljivama, i sa krompirima, znači ima različite varijante. Ovo je pretpostavljeno da su ovako oblik, zato jer sam ja sa sirom uzela. Pa idemo ih probati i vidjeti kako okus ima hinkali i kačapuri. Prvo ćemo hinkali. Ima jako fine skjerane, koje sir unutra je odličan. Inače, pači, kod dumpling samo sa sirom. 1,70 lari jedan komad, pa morate najmanje 5 komada naručiti. Hačapuri je 17 lari, dobijete ovu veliku. Unutra baš soljevito i puno sa sirom. Odlično. Odlično.
Russia saw the opportunity and they started annexing Georgia because Georgia was very weak and Persians were busy because they had their own internal.
Sljedeća stanica znači nam je spomenik prijateljstva koji je napravljen između Gruzije i Rusije. Dugačka je povijest, napisat ću vam u opisu, sad da vam baš ne prepričavam kako su Rusi sklopili prijateljstvo sa Gruzicima, na kraju opet ih zajebali. Kaže da ne podržavaju to što Rusi rade, ali glavna trgovska ulica koja im ide ovaj autoput je sa Rusijom i ne mogu se protiviti njima, jer ako im one zatvore granica, izgubili su sve, jer to im je glavan prihod. Tako da zato i ne ulaze u NATO, jer Rusi ne dopuštaju. Kako god, long story short, ovaj spomenik je napravljen u znaku njihovog prijateljstva i od tu na 12 km je granica sa Rusijom i trenutno smo na 2300 metara nadmorske visine. Evo ga, to je taj spomenik.
According to our belief, according to the legend, he was captured by gods and chained to Mount Kazbek as a punishment. Similar to how Prometheus was in Greece, very, very similar to that Georgian Prometheus. Any questions about Prometheus?
Vidite sve ove kamione, idu prema granicu s Rusijom. Toliko je njima bitna ova granica sa Rusijom. Nije kotovna spomenika, nego je ovdje, znači, gore se nalazi crkva. Trinity, Gergeti Trinity. Ovo je posljednje naseljeno mjesto u Gruziji i u tom smjeru 12 km je do granica sa Rusijom. Jedan stop, a to je ovdje da probamo med. Završili smo izlet i evo idemo put doma. Neke proteste su na cesti, bilo ih je jučer, ali ovaj put su malo veći. Mislim da nešto protestuju za Europske unije, za nečega. Vidite zastave koje nose. Sad ću vam malo zoomirati. Došli smo sad u jedan dućan da uzmemo nešto, baš sam pitala žensku zbog čega su ovi protesti. Kaže da to traje već godinu dana, protestiraju protiv vlade, da traže bolje uvjete za život naravno i traže da se oslobode sve koji su uhapšeni zbog ovih protesta. Znači ljudi koji mirno hodaju na demokratski protest bili su uhapšeni i tako da sad protestiraju svaki dan i zbog njih da se oslobode. Ali ovo danas je baš nekak veći protest nego onaj jučer koji je bio. Uglavnom, idemo mi u hotel, u apartman, odspavati se, odmoriti se, bio je dugi dan. Tako da, vidimo se sutra, lako noć.